What is up, Bulls? We are here Overwatch Monday night. I'm John, joined alongside Eli, as we've got the undefeated USF green team going up against the also undefeated Navarro Overwatch squad. So looks like we're going to have a banger because this is week 5. Both teams are 4-0 as we're nearing the end of the regular season.
You know, I'm really excited to see this match. Both teams, as you said, undefeated. This will probably be a very good match to see.
Yeah. Definitely, because, I mean, the last time we saw them, I think it was during week 3. You know, both teams are 2-0. You can't glean too much if you win your opening 2 matches just because of how seeding can work out sometimes. But you make it to 4-0, you're pretty good. You've got a lot going for you, and we're about to see it really live as the teams are loading up, getting the lobby together. And, I mean, the standout last time you and I watched this green team was definitely Kirito on that Pharah. I'm wondering if Navarro is going to have an answer to that.
You know, Kirito's Pharah definitely went unanswered last time we saw it, but both teams being undefeated, you know, Navarro might have an answer for that.
Yeah, I mean, they might have an answer. They might have that Cassidy. I mean, we talked about it last time, didn't really get brought up. As I can hear, it looks like we are getting into game. This sounds like might be not Numbani, but it's the 3-point. The 3-point map. Library.
Oasis,
thank you. I am very bad at my maps. I know I should be better, but yeah, I believe we're going to Oasis soon, so we're just getting everything on the backside lined up, and here we are on Oasis as we've got USF up against Navarro, and everything is lined up. Doesn't seem like we've got Kirito actually starting up today. In DPS, it's ZZ and Mihao, both very, very solid players. And of course, in that main tank role, Brockenroll, we saw some great stuff out of his Ryan last week, or last time we saw this team.
Yeah, last time we saw this team, you know, Brockenroll being a very strong, you know, tank, allowing just taking all of that, you know, targeting from Kirito last time. So I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, and one thing I just noticed, we have Toast and they have Froggy Toast, both in the support role. So let's hope they're never on a mirror as we're getting into our first fight. Sims on both sides trying to get some control, and those emo fields doing a lot of work getting cleared out before anyone can go down. But USF winning this opening fight. DC and Roy already gone. Shadow going to the Shadow Realm for Mihao, and Brandon fighting for his life alone on this Symmetra as USF takes the first point.
You know, that fight was just off bat, you know. Brandon on the Symmetra tried to take down those shields, but just couldn't get the setup to, you know, get a lot of damage on those shields, and USF ultimately just kind of taking out the top.
Yeah, and they are still holding this door position very, very well. Mia already finding the pick on Vici, and that it's so tough to push in. And that's one great point of this USF Green Squad that we noticed, that we talked about, is how good they are at holding you in your spawn.
You know, USF, they just have an amazing time, just, you know, kind of holding you in your spawn, and they just do their best to win that first match so they can hold you in your spawn.
That they are, as we're seeing Window committed out of the Baptiste from Toast, and honestly, just some pings going left and right, going mostly the way of USF. Now ZZ going down. Not the biggest loss, it's not your tanks, not your healers, but still that junk damage going away, still notable.
Mihao made the teleport, you know, kind of get everyone grouped to back up on the point just for this next point, just for this next fight, because they know ults are going to be up.
Yeah, ult's coming up, and found 2. That's a great tire to open things up for Vici. But there is still Uchi on this Sigma, but not going to be able to do much against that Winston laser. Very, very difficult. I'm expecting USF going to have to concede this point, but look at the ultis available. Everything except for that Window is online for USF, and almost everything is going to be available for Navarro. Save that tire.
You know, Vici getting that early pick onto Brockenroll was really nice because it allowed Navarro to really push up, but now it seems like USF is just holding their ultimates, you know, getting ready for that next fight that's coming up.
Getting ready for the next fight. It seems like here's the start. There's the Shatter. There's 3 picked up by the Gravitic Flux. Big sound barrier to deny that damage, but it looks like USF still on top, able to use their ultis proactively, and ZZ doing so much work, and now actually answer back though. Brandon and Shadow doing quite a bit. Although ZZ finding Brandon, and actually healer's still alive for Navarro, so it's very, very long and drawn out fight. It's going the way of Navarro. They've held point control, and now USF looking for answers. Uchi swapping over to that Diva.
USF had to use, you know, both of their tank ultimates in that fight, which a lot of it was CC. You know, it's going to be very hard to, you know, pick off these next teams, but let's see how these ultimates go through this fight.
They've got window, they've got the wall. Now we're going to have to see if they can combine them together. Huge ammo field, but not enough. Second it goes down, so does Roy. And now we're seeing Meow just use that laser, run him down. Reminded me of Ultimetra, that lock on. But now it looks like this is USF. They're just using that window. Those two ultis used to great effect as they are able to reestablish point control, just waiting on a couple staggers and actually able to get Vici there. Should slow down this push as Navarro and USF just about tied up at 70% apiece.
You know, what really helped USF that fight is the fact that Navarro didn't have many ults up. You know, from the fight before and even the fight before that, they were still just charging up their ults, but now that USF had, you know, 2 of their ults up in that fight, it allowed them to just kind of win it.
Yeah, and here we're seeing that tire getting used up by Vici. Finds the other Junkrat, so won't have to worry about those. And oh, a big shatter out of Roy. And that's going to shut down USF as the follow-up is too strong. Gucci getting staggered on the baby Diva. But now, have to take note what ultimates are up. You know, we brought up how ultis are really the difference maker in some of these fights, and that's what it's felt like. That shatter breaking things open. And got tire available for USF, but Window and Primal already committed. There's Meow on the side on the Cassidy, not able to do too much.
You know, a lot of these ults are really easy to just help set up. You know, you have Reinhardt Shatter, allowing to set up for, you know, Pharah's ult or even Junkrat ult.
Yeah, let plenty of setup there, but after a couple picks and now points at 99%, we've made it to overtime. This tire going all the way around the world, not even able to find one. And looks like USF, though, might still be able to find this fight. Is Heavy Weapon doing everything he can to stay alive on this point. That Winston, very, very sticky, but Meow with a nice placed shot on the Cassidy, able to knock him down. Now this is scattered. This is scrambling from both teams as they just need to finish things off in a quick headshot. Now the Deadeye should be enough to finish this fight for USF. As the last tank standing for Navarro goes down. Heavy Weapon trying to rotate up, but the first round goes the way of USF Green.
You know, that round really went up to, you know, ult economy and how both teams used their ult. I think USF did a great job of, you know, holding out each fight, making sure they had enough charged up. But Navarro definitely showed them a match and definitely gave them a run for their money towards the end of that point.
We're definitely seeing much tighter games, but it feels like USF is using their ulti just a little bit cleaner. You know, they were able to take site with just a window and a wall. You know, just the sim window, just the BAP wall, whereas, you know, it took 3 or more for Navarro to do the same.
Yeah, USF just, you know, being able to use their ults very cleanly, like you said. They definitely have a good grip on how to use ults efficiently.
Yeah, it's about finding that efficiency, and I mean, if they can find the first fight, they might just be able to dictate the pace of the game. That's what we saw last time, as we're actually on Lijiang Tower, not Oasis. I completely whiffed on my map, so everyone in chat who is flaming me, I understand. I would be flaming me too. Now we're gonna see who's flaming who at the end of this first fight. Is Vici on the Doomfist, finding an opening pick, and Brandon as well on that sim, doing so much work, as Vici trying to do something with the Diva, but can't quite find it as Vici on this Doomfist, tearing it up.
Whoever can get that Symmetra set up first, especially on, you know, control point maps, just have the edge. You know, they had the speed up Lucio boost, so it allowed them to really get set up really quick and bar USF from getting onto that point.
Yeah, and we're already seeing some hero adjustments out of USF, not waiting for that ulti charge, swapping straight over to the Cassidy and the Far, and it looks like it's paying in dividends. As already an initial pick, this Doomfist getting challenged, but doesn't look like Meow's going to be long for this world as DPS is traded out, but USF winning the rest of the fight as sort of that X factor for Navarro was out of the picture in the Vici's Doomfist, and now Froggy Toast going to go down. USF able to retake point after 30%.
You know, Mihao being in the back line, you know, kind of being able to get that flank really allowed USF to push up on that point because Doomfist was then focused on Mihao. Doomfist wasn't focused on, you know, getting the supports down, and the supports really helped, you know, maintain what USF was holding right there.
Yeah, it definitely was a very big deal as, oh, that Shatter doing so much work and stunning the Doomfist, stunning the Diva. That's going to be a quick wipe with just a couple ultis committed from USF.
Again, USF just having great ult economy in these matches. They only used Baptiste and Shatter.
Yeah, just Bap and Shatter.
But it seems like Navarro has a couple saved up for this next upcoming fight. So hopefully USF can, you know, maybe see what they can do here.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond, but there is the window just got popped. USF looking to back up, and there is the Diva Bomb. Does find Brandon, so 1 for that ulti. Not too bad, but here comes the Meteor Strike. That's the big one, and will they be able to take him out? And sound barrier already used. This Diva going very, very low, and Toast doing everything he possibly can to keep this Rhine alive, and somehow doing it all as ZZ able to do so much work on the Pharah. And oh man, Toast, that support cam just absolutely killing it as USF holds off the next wave of Navarro, and a lot of ultis used, not many results found.
You know, support players being a very key, you know, part of the team. As we saw, Toast's Baptiste really just helped them win that fight.
The reason they won that fight.
Yeah, the whole reason they won that fight was because of Baptiste. And, you know, I'm really glad to see support players getting some love here in this match.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad we got to see that POV, because honestly, I was amazed with how much healing was going down. And look at this quick window for a quick couple picks. And Meow going mad as another near wipe. Actually, a full wipe for USF as they're going to 2-0 Lijiang. And I mean, this is one of their good maps, and it's certainly showing.
Yeah, you know, Lijiang being a very strong map for USF. Mihao pulling out that Cassidy, really clutching up that last, you know, little fight right there, so they couldn't contest it at all.
Yeah, and we are going to see the play of the game. I've got a feeling. Oh, it's actually Roy, I think, with that big shatter on the first point.
That big shatter on the first point was definitely a play for the game. You know, just really shows that Rhine shatter is a key factor in each fight.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Ryan, they keep cutting some of his damage, they're cutting his shield, but Shatter, it always works, and it always will. So we're going to have to see how that gets applied, you know, in Overwatch 2, which is supposed to be coming out this year, so who knows. But regardless, some huge impact out of both of the Ryans on both of these squads, but USF 2-0 in the first map.
That was a really exciting match to watch, you know. Both teams had a lot of really good ult economy, but again, USF just having that slight edge and being able to just, you know, barely keep out those fights. And, you know, with their support Toast and then Brock and Roll in the Rhine, it was really just hard for Navarro to get through that.
Yeah, I mean, that Toast cam was really, really killing it. As I believe we are going to go to a short break before getting into map 2. So we will be right back with more USF versus Navarro action. Who'll stay undefeated through week 5? Stay tuned to find out. Welcome back, everyone. That was the Mucho Mango I was sipping on during break, biting back at me. But short break, that's what we like to hear, because we get to jump back into the action between USF and Navarro. And I mean, that first game, it was a 2-0, but it didn't tell the whole story.
You know, that first game really just showed USF has clean ult economy, and they have, you know, a lot of strengths when it comes to just playing these fights and having timing with their ults. But I think, you know, this next match might just show Navarro also, there's a reason they're undefeated.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we saw moments of that. You know, we saw Roy's giant shatter that was featured as play of the game. There were moments like that the entire time. I mean, Vici on the Doomfist just crushing it in the opening fight of, you know, that second point. But it felt like USF was just a little faster to adapt. And we're going to have to see, are they going to be faster to adapt here on Kings Row?
You know, I think a lot of it comes down to whether or not the team has the choice to be able to do something. You know, their game knowledge might just be the difference in this match.
Yeah, I mean, it could be. Maybe Navarro doesn't have some of the same roster depth or roster capabilities as far as, you know, what different players are comfortable on, as we're seeing a little bit of wall shenanigans out of Kirito, as he has been subbed in this game. So we're going to have to see how that roster adjustment gets applied. And it might just be that this is, you know, one of those maps that Kirito is stronger on and isn't the greatest on Lijiang, but let's see on this May. I'm very, very intrigued as Navarro, pretty standard. Actually, not super standard. They're going for the Torb Tracer duo in their DPS, and, you know, standards are Ryan in the front.
You know, seeing Kirito on the May here, May is a really strong pick for this map. Just being able to wall that first point, barring from anyone to enter, so they can just watch flanks, which are tight spaces, really good for, you know, Ryan charges, really good for May.
Yeah, very, very true, but also USF don't currently have a hit scan, and they're facing a pharmacy, so we got to see how they adjust to that. As a nice quick in and out of the iceberg from Kirito to avoid some damage. And now it's going to be a matter of how can this first fight be decided, and Kirito looking for a pick onto Froggy Toast, but again, feels like they're just trying to eke out that first pick, and from there it's going to explode.
Seems like there's a lot of just, you know, poking going in between both teams, trying to get their ults up, being able to just see who get their ults up for that, you know, first fight to make sure they guarantee that fight.
Yeah, I mean, first ulti that was dropped is the nano boost. I'm not entirely sure who on Navarro it went to, but Jarzy still did go down, and there's the big shatter. But an even bigger mine and follow-up wall weren't quite enough, though, as Brandon flies in from the sky and just shuts down USF. But nice responses and a great point take from Navarro.
I think one part of that fight was the fact that USF didn't have a hit scan in that fight. They weren't able to deal with that, you know, far just raining down from above. You know, they really felt the justice.
That they did. Is justice is gonna be applied, I think, at the start of this next fight. Is Vici on the turret, stuck on turret duty, or stuck on payload duty, no, as is the norm. As now, actually, that could be a pretty big May wall. We'll have to see how it gets applied. Tire gets dropped from ZZ, finds 2. And that is big for slowing down this push, but credit to Navarro. They were pushing forward and still have payload control.
You know, Navarro really just showing that there's a reason they're undefeated, especially in that first, you know, control point. They just took it.
Yeah. They ran over USF on Kings Row. They saw that they were up against no hit scan, and they said, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to take to the skies and have you deal with it. But, oh, man. The rock taking down the turret, that always makes me smile. Just whenever you get the rock through the window and deals double damage, I always think it's so funny as we see the grab committed by the Zarya, but counter sound barrier used. But USF picking up the rest of this fight as we're on the toast body cam for a moment, and Uchi trying to push everyone back. Nice Maywall to try and pick off this Zarya, and heavy weapon does go down, so that stagger will slow down the ambitions of Navarro.
You know, this little archway is really good control point for USF because they have the May, they have the Junkrat, you know. Having to just go around that cart without full vision, they're going to be able to play with it. They're going to be able to set traps, they're going to be able to get freezes. You know, Navarro's going to have a hard time getting back to this point and pushing it forward. Yeah,
they are going to have a hard time, and it sort of fits into that hold you in a corner style we saw work so well on Lijiang, as nearly able to find the far in the skies. Beautiful dodge out of Kirito from that shatter. Don't even know you have the reflexes for that one, as Uchi's able to find one with the gravitic flux. Here come the right clicks, here come the icicles, and the only one feeling icy is Kirito, as everyone else is getting shut down. And now heavy weapon forced to retreat. No amount of healing from the Mercy is going to save you there. And another great hold from USF as Navarro struggling for answers at arches.
You know, one thing that really showed in that fight was Kirito's skill at dodging. Kirito has insane, you know, prediction skills, being able to hit people with that May Icicle. Even though it charges up, it's a little time. So you have to know where they're going. And Kirito was definitely able to predict. But Brock and Roll's shield also came into big play.
Nice separation. Not going to get used to max effect, but there's the Blizzard to slow things down. And heavy weapon going to be the next to fall, as both tanks are already out of the picture for Navarro. They're going to have to give up on this push.
USF really likes scattering, you know, their times just so they can get picks, just so they can, you know, keep control of their point and waste as much time as they can.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the name of the game when you get effectively ran down on that first control point. Just hold streets as long as possible, and honestly, this is the hardest part of Kings Row, at least traditionally. And now USF showing a clinic on how to waste as much time as possible, as Tyre finds nobody but provides the space for Navarro to make it out of arches, as Brock and Roll throws down the shatter, gets at least one. Not sure how much more beyond heavy weapon is going to go the way of USF, as Brock and Roll taken out. There's the Dragons, no grab with it, but still finds 2. And Navarro marching forward as Kirito buying as much time as possible, giving the escape route for ZZ and Jarzy.
Something in that fight that really stood out was the fact that Navarro took out Brock and Roll. They didn't have the tank. They didn't have the health to, you know, be able to do the damage that they could have. And so now they're being pushed back into, you know, the little area, and we'll see what USF answers with.
Yeah, we'll see how they answer, as second point taken, and Nano actually dropped. So we're going to have to see if that gets any value. Doesn't look like much, but still finding space for Navarro. And again, keep your eyes on those ultis, as we're seeing one popped right now. The Gravitic Flux doing a good chunk of damage onto Roy, and is going to result in his death. And the Lucio gone as well from that Flux. Should be the end of this fight, as Brock and Roll finds Brandon Kirito onto Vici. And lots of ultis on the way for USF. It's a great wall to potentially stagger once again, and heavy weapon taken down as Navarro, more time ticking off the clock, but they're still on to the last point.
You know, Kirito really showing walls on May, they can stall, and they will stall. Blocking off spawn, blocking people and separating them from their team, being able to just get those picks. Kirito is showing that, you know, they have a lot of skill with May and a lot of patience especially.
And we're seeing more as the ammo field's gone. Combine the Blizzard with the Deadeye, and you're going to have a dead team as 2 quick picks, DPS and support out of the way. Heavy weapon going to lose the duel against that Ice Beam. And now USF once again holding Navarro in spawn as they are struggling for an answer.
So now both teams are, you know, semi-equidistant from this point. So it's really just who can get the most spawn timers up and who can stagger the best. And it seems like USF is really, you know, staggering much better than Navarro can.
Yeah, they're winning that war. They're finding the opening pick, steamrolling it, and they also understand when they're behind on ult economy, they're waiting on that flux. A lot of damage coming down as Brock and Roll shattered the tire, so we're going to have to see whether that's a mistake that gets punished. Trying to push the Hanzo off the high ground, working out for Zizir, at the very least pushing him out of the fight. There's the grab, and actually there's the Dragons, and that's going to be a quick little wipe for Navarro. USF might have a final fight here as the payload saunters towards their base.
You know, but USF are going to struggle in this next fight because while they do have one ult advantage, a lot of their ults are really slow. And we see Kirito switch to the Reaper, hopefully to deal, you know, with these tanks.
Yeah, I'm guessing the idea is get in the fight as quickly as possible, stay alive as long as you can. And it's certainly starting out as Kirito staying alive, just like the Bee Gees. And there's a shatter from Roy, but doesn't do much. As now, again, we're in near final fight territory. There's a big flux. Take everyone off the point. Keep someone on if you're USF. 2 meters to go. Navarro trying to figure something out. But Brandon, the last one standing near point, does find the pick onto Toast, but still USF hold Navarro to 2.
USF barely taking that map. Navarro really showing that they are an undefeated team. But, you know, USF, again, being cleaner with that game knowledge, being cleaner with that decision making, it really shows the difference. It makes a lot of difference between both teams.
Yeah, it does make a difference, but I mean, you still have to credit Navarro with how strong, you know, once they found an avenue, they were able to push it as far as possible and forced USF to respond. And I mean, that's what we saw with their final push. That's what we saw from the push from alleyways all the way up through streets. You know, it was just one continuous push. They weren't chipping away. They just kept going. Really interested to see how USF approaches attack.
You know, that Hanzo ult from Navarro was a really big playmaker, and they were able to just get the angle with that and make sure that, you know, USF wasn't able to push forward.
Yeah, Navarro taking use of that, you know, age-old grab dragons, and
of course,
now it looks like they might be doing a little bit more of an unorthodox. I mean, this isn't necessarily unorthodox, but maybe not something we're used to seeing. You know, the Orisa Rhine alongside a Widow sort of fallen out of favor as of late.
You know, but it's still a very strong, you know, get picks early. You know, they have the setup, they have the chance to do it. So I'm really excited to see how they do this.
Yeah, I'm also a little intrigued by Vici on the Torb. We saw it at the start of last, you know, the first half of this game, and it didn't do too much. It wasn't impactful. We didn't see a single Molten Core, and now on defense, I mean, there's a little more space you have to work with, and actually Azizi was just using that Widow for some scouting potential, but it is locked in for Brandon, is going to be using that Widow to full effect. We're going to see how this difference in DPS works out.
You know, Widow being a really strong hit scan, especially against, like, you know, squishier champions, but you're going to have a hard time using with Lucio's speed boost being a big part of just making sure the team can move, so Widow can't hit that.
Yeah, and now USF trying to push through Hotel, get out of that Widow line of sight, and Maywell might be enough to separate this Orisa, and if they can find that opening pick, it'll be a big start, but Roy found Toast, but USF finding the rest as the Torb turret's trying to find some targets, but USF just taking down the entire team instead, and just like we saw Navarro do to the Bulls, USF just has a quick sweep onto the first control point.
I really think this first control point, it's a matter of who can win that first fight, and each time it seems like the offensive side has the edge.
Yeah, and I mean, it felt like, you know, Navarro, they're a little bit linear. And oh, what a Maywall! As it actually doesn't find anyone yet. Trades going back and forth, but Kirito now in a dicey position. Nice shield put out by Uchi. I'm gonna have to see. Ooh, that orb nearly doing the most as another wall doesn't cordon anyone off and gets Kirito stuck. As USF not getting stuck on arches like Navarro did. And there's a big shatter. I was ready to hand it off, but instead Rock and Roll says, let me steal the show, as a series of kills go the way of the Bulls. And now there's just a couple left standing. And they're trying not to get staggered, but USF trying to hold these timers as long as possible. And Royce Enix taken down after quite a while.
You know, I really do enjoy how aggressive USF is in their pushes. You know, Kirito keeping that, you know, very aggressive position. Even though they were stuck in there, they still just kept it and stalled the other team from, you know, reaching USF and being able to continue fighting, especially with those May walls.
Yeah, I mean, Kirito has been giving a masterclass on May. If you wanna get better in your rank games, honestly, just watch this guy play. Cause look at him go. This might not work in your rank games just because of the amount of team coordination necessary, but still finds a way to get the Blizzard down, and Blizzard stuns everyone up. And while Kirito still somehow alive from the whole team support, but members of Navarro can't say the same as they're trying to hold on to this second payload checkpoint. Doesn't look like they'll be able to. Brandon's still holding on for dear life, getting pushed away. And actually, the Dragons were canceled. Jarzy denying them, or actually, they might. No, they did go through. I thought it got completely denied, and I was freaking out.
That would have been a moment for the ages. But you know, Jarzy really pressuring that Hanzo, allowing Toast to just really heal up the team. Very trusting. This team has a lot of communication and a lot of trust in each other.
Yes, it certainly does. And that's what you want to see at a team performing at such a high level. As we're seeing Kirito swap over to the Cassidy. No more closed spaces for the May. Instead, just looking to shoot him down on the Cowboy as we're seeing the Gravitic Flux picked up. A Deadite combo alongside it, but still gonna be a tough fight to win as Bastion already off the table. Rock and Roll finding Shadow. That's a big healer to be out of the picture. And
oh my god! Oh my god!
USF with a quick team kill are able to find game 2. And this may be a best of 5. I might have been incorrect thinking that it was a best of 3, as we are seeing good rounds instead of GGs. So we'll fix that overlay. But oh man, I'm ready to see this from ZZ's perspective. Just sitting behind the cart, gets in the little cubby, and sometimes that's all you need as a or die instantly.
Lord. You know, ZZ being the real game changer in that last moment, being able to take out the whole team, just allowed for the instant win on USF's part. Even though they were so close and they probably would have made it, ZZ confirmed that with the 4K with the tire.
Whew. What a game.
What a game.
What
an exciting game.
And I mean, honestly, it just all culminated in that end. We had Kirito with the walls. We had some beautiful pushes out of USF. And I mean, you have to remember, Navarro was still, you know, like a top 20 team in NACE Open. And USF just crushed them.
You know, USF Green doing a lot of work since the last time they showed. You know, last year, NACE, you know, they did have trouble. But now they're up.
Now this team is clicking, they're gelling, and I think we're waiting on our producer for confirmation on if this is a best of 5. So we will get that to you guys as soon as possible. But again, it felt like, you know, USF, they understood their breakpoints, they understood their composition, and they understood when to change.
You know, USF had great ult economy, and as you said, they knew when to change. Kirito switching to Cassidy, you know, in those last moments, being able to use that open space as like a way to just get a good Deadeye, and then zoning off, having a lot of places, just cramping the enemy team, having the Ryan, having everyone just kind of keep everyone in one place.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, if you're that good on May, and then you swap over to Cassidy, you're being just as effective. You know, I haven't seen Kirito on a hero that I have not liked him on, and that is very impressive.
You know, Kirito being a very big MVP of these matches, but we also have to give it to the supports.
Oh, absolutely.
Toast on Baptiste. Being able to just solo heal the team, I mean, that's insane.
That is insane. I mean, Jarzy keeping Kirito alive off of the insane, like, dive Blizzard for the second checkpoint. I mean, these are all incredibly well-coordinated movements. This team is playing together. They have been scrimming constantly. They have practices every week, and it is showing. You know,
USF Green just showing that teamwork can make or break the game, and they have the teamwork.
Can it make the dream work?
It can make the dream work.
That it certainly can, as I do believe we will have a game 3. It is a best of 5, so we will be right back with game 3, and we'll see if Navarro has anything in the tank to respond to USF's initial 2-0, or if USF will take that sweep. So stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss it. And welcome back. We are about to jump into game 3, as this is not a best of 3. It's a best of 5. That is my mistake on the back end of things. But still, we have got one more, at the very least, amazing game of Overwatch to bring to you all.
I'm really excited to see this match. Navarro might bring it back, or USF might just take the map. But, I still think it's in the air. Navarro is an undefeated team.
Yep.
And I think they have the potential to win this map.
That they do. I think they just need to adjust a little bit faster, a little bit quicker, and I think that they are going to be contesting USF in ways that, we've been seeing USF roll over them at times. But, if you're a Navarro fan, pick up your brooms. It could be time for a reverse sweep. So everyone get ready for that, as USF looking to clean this one out. As bringing the R checks in chat, everyone getting ready as we are on our way to, I believe this is
Gibraltar.
Gibraltar. Okay, I was right. I wanted to say Watchpoint Gibraltar, but I didn't want to mess it up. Because again, don't play Overwatch as much as I used to. And yeah, no, but Watchpoint Gibraltar, always one of my favorite maps because I'm an Orisa main, or I was an Orisa main, and then I became a Sigma main, so not as much, but...
I really enjoy Watchpoint Gibraltar, and I think every match I've casted, there's always been a Winston.
Yeah.
It's the home map. It's the home field advantage.
You gotta have that home field advantage, as we're seeing Kirito on the Echo, taking to the skies, already getting some nice chip damage in. But again, just gonna get healed up real quick by Shado and Froggy Toast as they're going with the pirate ship composition, but Brandon, that main cannon, already gone. As looks like we do have a pause. I think that Uchi Madara did just have some technical issues. So we're getting that quick pause in. Hopefully, it's nothing too major, as it does seem like there is some discussion on whether or not they can pause it this time. We'll get confirmation of that as soon as possible. But from what we've seen so far, looked like Navarro wanted to go out here with that pirate ship comp, and Kirito shut it down immediately on the Echo.
Kirito just having a good time on that Echo, but also there was Mihao on the Soldier.
Yeah.
Having a hit scan in that position is really nice because they could just throw down the shield.
Yeah.
That shield isn't going to have a good time against a hit scan.
It certainly won't, as we are just waiting for that pause to complete, and then we'll get back into the action. As I think that some of the coaches are probably just checking up on all the rules to make sure that, the pauses were all legal and that they do it correctly, because, of course, we don't want there to be any issues with the match from either side, and hopefully this isn't too significant. As the pause is coming down, I think they have to play out the fight until Uchi can make it back into the game. So now I got to see what USF can do. Considering they got the opening picks, there might still be a chance for the 45 to work out, as Tiger Lily is dancing around and doing quite a bit of work, keeping Kirito alive, keeping Brock and Roll alive, as Uchi does get the reconnect, does get the respawn, and USF going to win this opening fight as Mihao repositioning up to this high ground.
It looks like they subbed him LeBam for Toast in this match.
Yeah, and that's one thing about this green roster. They have a very deep pool, and they will change mid-match if they have, a greater strength on a given map. And the fact that they understand that is amazing.
I really like that they understand, some people are better on some maps, some people aren't, but they will sub out, and that's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's honestly what you want in a team. It does look like Navarro. They're still sticking to that Bastion. Did find one on the flank. We'll have to see if they can get any offensive pressure rolling, as Meow trying to take down these shields. And honestly, this is, I think, an awkward position for both teams, as the pirate ship doesn't like this too much, as the Orisa already going down. They need these respawns before trying to load back up. But again, USF, they're just holding you in your spawn, and that seems to be all that they like to do. And Meow now has the, as I like to call it, aim hacks online, as we might see that tactical visor applied. Stunned down onto the Bastion, does get taken out by Uchi, and Kirito on this Sigma copy from the Echo, trying to find a Gravitic Flux, is gonna find the Orisa right before the Golden goes down, and also is somehow able to find that turret, trying to laser down heavy weapon, and the last tick secures it.
Kirito being a very strong player, just every time I see him, just goes insane. But I also have to give it to Tiger Lily. They are a duo. Kirito and Tiger Lily, as we saw last time, with their pharmacy, now they're running Mercy and Echo, and I think it's just as good.
Oh, it absolutely is, and I think for Gibraltar, you can, and especially if you're up against like Pirate Ship where you're dealing with those double barriers, the Echo just provides so much more than the Pharah at times, and so much more burst potential onto this Bastion. Seeing the Val committed, oh, a massive purple, as now all of Navarro is going to fall to those grenades, as it's now just a matter of time. USF trying to stagger that last member, and Roy Phoenix on Sigma will be sent back to base.
You know, Tiger Lily just hopping from one person to the other, you know, consistently healing everyone in this match. I really think that supports are insane players in their own right.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, the whole team works together to make this happen, and that is one of the beautiful things as Tiger Lily. Again, just so much value being applied here. As now we're gonna see if Frank Kirito can find some aggression. It does look like they want a bit of a flank, and they're jumping behind, but a Reaper actually a potential response, getting rid of that Bastion. But still, how do you deal with the Echo if Torb's your answer? That turret can only target one at a time. As the Echo copy comes in, and there comes the Melody, and that Gravitic Flux can do plenty of work. From both teams, and a Death Blossom to finish things off from the Echo, as it feels like Navarro can't find any answers. 10 seconds ticking down on the clock. That might just be it, as they can only get they couldn't even find the first checkpoint, looking to try and contest, and the Diva Bomb to confirm the hold. Actually, overtime as Vichi's on the Tracer, so let's see if they can track her down. And dancing around, doing a lot of work, and now the Hammond try and contest, as this is a very great effort coming out from Navarro, but I don't know if it's enough. That Bongo, though, doing so much work, but Uchi on the Baby Diva trying to do some damage, and actually is going to get the remake, is going to stay alive here. Kirito finding heavy weapon. This fight might not be lost for USF after all from this survivability, as Uchi finally able to kill the Baptiste, and now it's a matter of tracking down the Tracer. She is that last one standing. Here comes the Reaper, and there goes the Reaper, as overtime goes the way of USF, as they prevent Navarro from finding even a single point on Gibraltar.
USF being very good at, you know, keeping Navarro off of their point. And especially with that last play, Navarro really tried to bring it back. You know, having the Hammond, having the Tracer, being able to stall for the rest of the team to come back. But USF just dove their backline. Uchi on both supports, keeping them zoned off from the team.
As Baby Diva.
As Baby Diva. As Baby Diva. And it's really a testament to USF's skill and teamwork.
And it's also, you know, these are also individual plays that are popping up that are still part of this, you know, greater framework. And I think that's like what's great to see, as thank you very much to our incredible producer slash observer slash behind the scenes everything, Shashank. As honestly, I've never got a chance to look out over this beautiful Gibraltar coastline.
I think Overwatch maps have an amazing background.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you take a good look at them. A good one being, I'm sorry, what's the map in Greece?
Oh, Ilios.
Ilios, yes, having an amazing background.
I
love Overwatch's art.
Yeah,
I think the design team did great.
That's one thing I'm gonna say that Blizzard does do well. Their art is always killer. Their animations are insane. And now it looks like we're seeing an underpass hold with the Symmetra setup. And I don't know if I like this. I think it gives USF way too much space than if you just go for a traditional high ground hold.
But they do have Orisa, so, you know, maybe they're looking for, you know, both an underhold and a top hold.
I don't think so. I think everyone's just grouped up. They're sort of all-inning on this, you know, hold from under, and it's going to get sniffed out by USF. That, you know, Vision Dart going to do quite a bit for Mihao, and now they're just sort of boxed in, and if you give too much space to USF, they're just going to get past your checkpoint. That Maywell not going to stand up against the might of the payload, as now, again, more Vision dropped, more bodies potentially to fall from either team as we're waiting on this first fight result. Imo Field doing a lot of work for Navarro, but USF still doing a lot. Oh, there's the Kirito we expect. Down comes the barrage, and down goes Navarro, as Kirito with a quick little 5K to secure this series for USF, as they not only stay undefeated, they don't even drop a map to Navarro.
I think Kirito on the Pharah is an amazing choice. Always.
I think anything on Kirito. I think Kirito is an amazing
Kirito
choice.
is an amazing choice as a player. And as you'll see, Kirito got play of the game. Probably with that play.
Yeah, I have to assume that it was that, as just gaining so much charge from how clumped up this team was. Bye-bye Immofield, bye-bye Navarro, and I mean, there's really not much else to say. There's no hot, in-depth analysis you can give. Big barrage, does a lot in a cramped space, and domination out of USF Green once again.
You know, USF Green just being a very strong team. Their team were great, and I think in that last match, Navarro did make the mistake of cornering themselves. That Pharaoh ulti was just allowed to be able to wreak havoc among them.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe they were counting on the Echo getting picked instead of that Pharah. Maybe they didn't watch enough USF footage to know that any hero, not champion, this isn't League of Legends, this is Overwatch.
That it is.
Any hero, you know, is a threat in his hands. But beyond that, I mean, we're saying Kirito's name a lot, but it takes an entire team to allow for a player like that to shine. You know, Tiger Lily on that Mercy. We were seeing earlier on Toast solo carrying some of those fights on Lijiang Tower on the Baptiste. Like, this is a team that just everyone understands what they need to do, and that is incredible to see, and it's why they're undefeated.
You know, USF Green, Brock and Roll being a great tank for their team. It's just very skilled on Ryan.
Yeah.
Brock and Roll's insanely skilled on Ryan. Being able to, you know, block shatters, being able to just get these big shatters on enemy teams, it's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's incredible to see, and it's incredible to see USF continue this streak of dominance in NACE Open. But that is going to be it from us here at USF Esports for tonight. So we want to first of all thank all of y'all, the watchers, for letting us do what we do. Eli, as always, an absolute pleasure to get to cast alongside you. Again, huge thanks to our producer, Shank. And I am John J. Turbo signing out. Everyone have a wonderful night.
Have a wonderful night.